Layer 1 is not there to be ultra fast. It is not there to do 1 million transactions per second.
Ethereum made it more generalized. It's not actually Turing complete.
And of course, Gavin Wood shared that post. It would be great if Vitalik started giving credit where credit is due. Divinity's Dominic Williams criticizes Ethereum and Polkadot Layer 2 solutions. There's a huge battle being waged between the top Layer 1 blockchains on the planet. They all have the exact same goal in mind, to sell very high quality block space. And so we're going to look at the leaders of 3 of these assets: Vitalik Buterin of Ethereum, Gavin Wood of Polkadot, and Dominic Williams of ICP. And we're going to see which one is winning in the competition to become the dominant Layer 1 blockchain on the planet. First up, this is from Vitalik Buterin.
So Ethereum is the world computer. It always has been, always will be.
Here's Gavin Wood.
What specifically do I see it becoming? Basically, it's a big shared computer.
And here's Dominic Williams.
It became apparent to me that it would be possible to create the internet computer, a real world computer, if you like.
They all have the exact same vision to create a world computer. Let's dive deeper into how they stack up against each other and who's in the lead, who's winning, what their criticisms are of each other's projects.
So Ethereum is the world computer. It always has been, always will be. So in addition to this, Ethereum is an incredibly large and diverse on-chain economy. And also Ethereum is an incredibly large and diverse global community. So Ethereum is many things. How does the world computer work, right? The way that I think about this is Layer 1 is the trust machine, and Layer 2 is the GPU, right? So the Layer 1 of Ethereum, that is the core Ethereum blockchain, this is the anchor that keeps the rest of the ecosystem safe and holds the rest of the ecosystem together. Layer 1 is not there to be ultra fast. It is not there to do 1 million transactions per second. Layer 1 is first and foremost there to be decentralized, to be robust, and to be something that is dependable.
So Vitalik Buterin wants Ethereum to be a world computer. He's saying it has a huge on-chain economy. That's the mission for Ethereum. What does Gavin Wood say about Polkadot?
So we've seen a few step changes in the world of blockchain. Bitcoin was essentially, a bit like a calculator. It was basically a financial payment system, kind of bank-esque, domain-specific computer. Ethereum made it more generalized, and it sort of took Bitcoin from this highly domain-specific position that it was in, the technology, I should say, and manifested technology that was much less domain-specific. It was sometimes called Turing complete. It's not actually Turing complete. It's not Turing complete because it has a fundamental gas limit. The gas is the number of computational steps that the program is allowed to take before it must finish. And this is finite, and it's actually quite small, but more importantly, it's finite. This makes it not Turing complete as a computer. It's just that the language that the computer uses is Turing complete. Now, Polkadot takes this concept and essentially is trying to create a cloud instead of a computer, right? A much, much bigger, more pervasive, more general computational resource.
So he's calling out Ethereum for having too much gas, for not being a cloud, and so therefore not really being a world computer. It's old technology. He's saying Polkadot is the level up. It's the evolution of a layer 1 blockchain that can't really do anything on chain to a layer 1 blockchain that can do everything on chain. So right there, he's calling out Vitalik Buterin's definition of a world computer. He is totally disagreeing with it. Here's his take on other blockchains, including ICP.
Now, Polkadot is designed to create the highest quality block space, right? That's why we're here, right? We're not cutting corners. We're going for the throat. So, one of the ways that we can measure it is by computational throughput and data throughput. Now, transactions per second is a very imperfect way of measuring computational and data throughput of a system. Because transactions, it turns out, require both data and computation to be processed. Unfortunately, different systems process transactions in different ways. Indeed, different systems have completely different definitions almost for what constitutes a transaction. These transactions are the sort of proper transactions. They're like, and what, by proper I mean they operate on state that is independent of the other transactions that are happening at roughly the same time. They always include a signature, one per transaction. They always include a transfer, one per transaction. Sometimes we find TPS metrics that do not uphold these three things, and then that's where some systems have bloated numbers. In fact, some systems don't even require a transfer to happen at all. But anyway, as you can see, the number is substantially greater than any other system that is actually deployed. Of course, some systems claim theoretical throughput numbers. Other systems say that they had some particular deployed testnet behind closed doors. Yeah, whatever. This is for actually deployed live decentralized systems.
So in that clip, he's calling out ICP, saying it doesn't have as high a transaction per second. According to his definition of what a transaction is, it doesn't have as high of a TPS as Polkadot. Here he's calling out Ethereum.
Polkadot has the highest bandwidth, right? So if we just take data bandwidth alone, ignore processing, computation, it's still far higher than other systems that are domain specific for data availability.
He's saying on these metrics, Polkadot wins. So in the midst of this kind of debate, we have Vitalik Buterin coming out with a brand new post about his vision for Ethereum. Vitalik Buterin. This post proposes a radical idea for the future of the Ethereum execution layer. It aims to greatly improve the efficiency of the Ethereum execution layer, resolving one of the primary scaling bottlenecks, and can also greatly improve the execution layer's simplicity. In fact, it is perhaps the only way to do so. The idea, replace the EVM with RISC-V as the virtual machine language that smart contracts are written in. So just totally overhaul the EVM that very few people in the blockchain world enjoy using at this point. Too high gas, not ideal. He wants to totally overhaul this. So what does the Polkadot community have to say about this? Some may get a feeling of animosity or bitterness from the Polkadot ecosystem. This is not the whole story. Nice copy-paste of Jam paper by Vitalik Buterin. Longer version, Gavin Wood, created Solidity and built the EVM in collab with many other builders, and the network effects have been massive with a huge wave of adoption with the most millionaires printed in history. Now the Polkadot core is moving toward RISC-V with Jam, and suddenly the new idea comes from Vitalik. Polkadot Eco carries a feeling just short of bitterness about the gross misallocation of attention from what Polkadot has built and continues to improve on. But stay humble, fam. This is validating and will turn out to be a net positive for all crypto in the end. So it appears that Ethereum is copying Polkadot. Just like they copied Polkadot's layer 2 system, having a relay chain and having a whole bunch of high volume layer 2s running on top of it, they're now copying the programming language that Gavin Wood chose for the distributed computer they're trying to build and turn Polkadot into. And of course, Gavin Wood shared that post on X. It's not bitterness or animosity. It would be great if Vitalik started giving credit where credit is due. He can copy paste everything he wants. It's open source, right? So a little battle brewing between these layer 1 blockchains. And it looks like Polkadot on almost every metric in terms of technology is crushing Ethereum. Now, obviously, Ethereum, which was created by Gavin Wood, he left to do Polkadot, has been massively successful. It was one of the first movers in the crypto space. We know how limited it is. It's way too expensive to use, so we need the layer 2s. So it has issues. That's why it's trying to copy Polkadot. And so from that perspective, in the race to become a world computer, Polkadot is beating Ethereum. What does Dominic Williams, the head of ICP, the Definity Foundation, which is building the internet computer ICP, what does he say about both of these assets? Definity's Dominic Williams criticizes Ethereum and Polkadot layer 2 solutions. For Ethereum, Dominic said the world's most used blockchain network is now resembling a Rube Goldberg machine of layer 2 cloud applications. He posited that about half of Ethereum's functional nodes are hosted on the Amazon Web Services, exposing them to various risks. So what he's saying is a direct counterpoint to Vitalik Buterin's claim that there is a massive on-chain economy. He's saying most of that economy is on Amazon Web Service databases. So what he's saying is Ethereum is far from that world computer. It's really an API for Amazon Web Services, an entryway for Amazon Web Services for big tech cloud. So let's dig a little deeper and compare these ecosystems. Blockchain battle, quickly comparing the top layer 1 blockchain networks, examining their capacity to host data on chain independently, free from dependence on external hosting services such as AWS or other third-party storage providers. The reason this is so important is because you can't call yourself a world computer when the computer you're using is Amazon Web Services. Amazon Web Services is the computer, not the Web3 project. That's what Gavin Wood was saying about Ethereum. He's like, it's not a cloud. Polkadot's trying to become a cloud. Let's see how ICP stacks up to these legacy layer 1s. Well, in terms of projects that are free from dependence on external hosting services, such as Amazon Web Services or other third-party storage providers, ICP has social media, it is messaging apps, it is music streaming, it is gaming, it is blogging, it is DeFi, it is Bitcoin and Ethereum layer 2 applications, it is email, it is real-world asset tokenization, it is data storage, and it is front-end hosting, all without third-party compute. Compare that to Ethereum, compare that to Solana, compare that to AVAX, compare that to Near, compare that to ADA. ICP is dominating. Polkadot cannot do that yet. Now, of course, they're working towards that, and that is very admirable. I love the Polkadot community. I think their heart is in the right place. I think they believe in decentralization. They believe in Web3. They're great people. I love Gavin Wood, but the fact remains that ICP currently, today, is the only protocol that can do it all free from third-party storage providers. It is revolutionary technology. And here's just one of the applications running on Polkadot. This is Open Chat, active direct chats monthly, increasing. This is a social network called Open Chat, growing 33.6 thousand, the weekly average for the last 365 days. Growing. That's just one application with increasing adoption, all on chain, no Amazon Web Services. And ICP is getting paid for this. This is where it gets extremely exciting. This is why Polkadot is moving towards this, because it is the future. It is alien technology. It's revolutionary technology. Let's compare all blockchain layer 1s by revenue. We've covered this before on this channel. In the last 30 days, ICP is the 6th highest revenue generating blockchain on the planet. Because even though its users aren't anywhere close to Ethereum, its revenue per user, because none of that revenue is going to Amazon, it's all going to internet computer token holders who govern the world computer. ICP is the 6th highest revenue generating protocol, so it's getting paid for all this activity. The economics are there. Now let's compare these ecosystems by development activity. Solana is the #1 ecosystem for new developers in 2024. That's great. But the three we're talking about today are all also on this chart. We have Ethereum #2, but this includes Ethereum mainnet and Ethereum layer 2s. Now remember, these Ethereum layer 2s can be very disloyal. They can move. They can move to Solana. They can move to different blockchains. They don't have to stay on Ethereum forever. All the value accrual from the applications are essentially accruing to the layer 2s, like Polygon, like Optimism, like Coinbase's Base. The layer 2s are the ones earning that revenue. Ethereum is earning a small fraction of the revenue for each layer 2. Ethereum will need thousands of layer 2s to become profitable and go deflationary. Solana, not deflationary yet. So this number, I don't trust, because a lot of that development activity could be Coinbase's developers building out Base, or Cello, or Polygon, or all the other layer 2s building. If you just looked at the main chain, might be a lot different. The internet computer is the #4 fastest growing developer community in the world in last year in 2024. Polkadot is on here as well with 1.2K, 1,167 new developers. Respectable, right? Beating a whole bunch of the other legacy layer 1 blockchains. So good for Polkadot, great for the internet computer. Massive growth taking place. And while all the other blockchains in the world try to catch up, we have Ethereum totally abandoning its programming language, trying to copy Polkadot. We have Polkadot abandoning the legacy layer 1 ways and trying to become a world computer. Again, very respectable. While the other legacy layer 1s try to catch up, ICP is innovating. Dfinity's founder says AI will build the apps, not developers. They are literally creating a programming language that has intelligence embedded that gives anyone the ability to speak to the language and create web applications. So ICP is like worlds ahead from the rest of the Web3 space. That's not a knock on Polkadot, because Polkadot has a great community as well. I am rooting for them to become a world computer, but ICP is currently in the lead. So that's where we are in the war that is being waged between these three assets and between the three leaders that all have the same goal